We've all known about this. The U.S. issues with regard to debt expansion and everything that is derived from it, being the markets across the board, as well the unfortunate downfall of the United States of America on the global stage, the fact that we will lose in the process of right now our reserve status with regard to the currency and everything connected to it. But basically, this is, to me, look, this is symbolic. It tells us something that we already know, that we are in a downward spiral. It's irrecoverable. There is no way to fix it with any of the current policies in effect. Could we turn this around? Yes, we could. But we need to start with one basic factor, and that would be returning purchasing power to the currency. And that's not what we're getting. We're hearing more and more talk about how we need lower rates. We need a weaker currency here, and the central bank's in a race to the bottom. We all know that collectively. It's an amazing thing to witness. We've been downgraded before, but this is the first time ever we lost the AAA rating, and that is symbolic here. It means that the debt here, even U.S. debt, is no longer safe anymore. And then we got this whole other issue of corporate debt, which is out of control right now. And this is another time bomb underneath the system. It's going to go off. We're already seeing what's happening here with regard to corporations here and the spreads here in the debt junk bond market. This is getting wider. This is a clear sign that something going on here under the surface. So unfortunately, what we're going to see is this, to continue to inflate, even though we just got this debt down here. We got this Iron Dome, Golden Dome thing that President Trump's talking about now. Okay, we need this for our security. It's for our freedom. All this does here is stifle us even more. It has nothing to do with any of it. But this is how it's sold to us all, to allow the debt to inflate even more. I just ran across conservative projection that 9 years from right now, the U.S. debt is going to be near 60 trillion by their own numbers. Now, we know it's going to be much higher than that. That's assuming a 5% growth rate in the debt and deficits. And it's going to be way beyond that, of course. We can't survive this here. We're being deliberately driven into the ground like a pile driver. The market is still in la la land. I mean, yes, the stock market's under pressure. It's trading on multiples that are astro-freaking-nomical, and this has been going on for quite a while. People are willing to pay almost anything still to own shares of stock. You got to be out of your mind. This is going to stop. This is going to contract so fast, this multiple expansion cycle that we've been in, so fast that people's heads are going to spin around. They're not even going to know what to do with themselves. And we are witnessing, again, a symbolic event, which is going to precipitate to making it very real for people at one point. And I'm talking about this goes way beyond the markets. The markets, look, people like to play in them. I'm one of them. I'm fascinated by the movement of cash through the markets, through the economy, how it works, what governments do to prop it up, central banks, who pulls the strings, the puppeteers, all of it. It's fascinating to me. And I think, look, man, we're preaching to the choir. There's no doubt about it. But the issue here with regard to global debt, currency devaluation, debasement on the back of artificially suppressed rates is epic. What are they doing? They're protecting the banks and they're putting it on us. So protect the banks and make the people suffer by doing so. Pretty much that's it. Just this morning, we find out the inflation in the UK unexpectedly jumped. It's always unexpected. Here's a headline here. Food prices are rising. Just listen to this. Consumers are beginning to experience tariff-related sticker shock. It's not just about tariffs here, okay? This is about currency devaluation on the back of artificially suppressed rates. Tariffs are definitely a hidden tax, no doubt about it. But this is a deception in some ways here. It really should be saying here a combination of currency devaluation, but it's not. Let's read more. The average cost of food is up compared with the same period last year. I mean, really, honestly, we need someone to tell us this. And how about this one? As a percentage of overall income, the amount spent on groceries continues to rise. Now, this is what bothers me more so than everything else. Consumers are scaling back on healthy foods, opting for cheaper alternatives. So people are now poisoning themselves because they have no choice. They can't see. Here's the issue. Inflation is rising everywhere. How do we stop it? We need a stronger currency. How do we return purchasing power to the currency? Many, many ways. We know we're not going to go back to a gold standard. Okay, President Trump could end the Fed today, instituting the Gold Reserve Act of 1934. Today, goodbye, see you later. Back the currency with a gold, value it whatever he wants. Ain't going to happen. Overhearing the guy out of his own mouth and everybody else, every single world leader, same thing. No one's pushing back against central banks lowering rates artificially here and killing their currency. So let's put this into perspective. We understand that we need to return purchasing power to the currency. Sound about right? We could do this by raising rates. If people don't believe what I'm about to say, I'm going to urge them to look this up for themselves. Higher rates and a strong currency are the builders of economies. Low rates and currency purchasing power losses are the wrecking machine of the economies of the world. We have been more prosperous in the United States and around the world when we've had higher rates and a stronger currency. The current situation just wipes us out. Wealth gets stolen right out of the middle class, right out of the economy, shoved right up to the 1% and 2%. That's how it works. So when you hear a politician say, hey, you know what, we need lower rates or we need a weak currency, you realize that they're working for their central bank. So there's a much darker thing going on here. I think what you're talking about is going back to the credit default swaps here. This whole derivative issue plays right into this. Look, man, debt and debt obligations and all stuff connected to pension plans and all the stuff you were just talking about, there's no way it can be paid. Look, I think it's obvious, at least it is to me, and I'm certain, we are going to experience a crack in the sky that's going to open like people don't even know. And I'm talking about the implosion here in the debt market. We already got, again, the U.S. debt has been downgraded. There's no safe debt anymore anywhere. Now, all of these things that you just alluded to here are connected to a credit default swap. In other words, risk is moved. They can't get rid of risk. So they try to lessen the burden by putting that on another company. And then there's another company that takes on more, a part of that. And all it's is split up into tranches and sold off to the highest bidder. And with regard to, this is all derivatives we're talking about here. Warren Buffett himself, I think it was 2002, he warned that this was going to be the end. That when the derivative market implosion and stuff was going to end it all, and it is. And we're talking again about a credit default swap, which is a derivative in itself as well, and the derivatives on top of that. This is the most dangerous part of the entire system, henceforth why they're trying to keep it afloat via, killing the currency. No one wants to take any losses here. Everyone wants to keep this going on and on and on and on. But the bottom line is this: all we need is one default, which is going to start a domino effect around the world, and it's going to rip through the global economy so fast, it'll be an overnight event. I mean, I'm not talking about this is going to be a slow bleed. We're talking about a moment in time that it's going to rock the core of the earth. All these pension plans and all these stuff that you just talked about here, it's all going to go up in flames, literally overnight, probably within hours. What we're talking about here is a locking up of the credit markets. They're going to seize the lifeblood of the system, which is debt. All of it is going to lock up. I've been warning people about this for 10 years or longer. That means transactions stop. It means you go to your bank, there's no cash. There's no cash in your brokerage accounts. There's nothing. The system dies. It's over. This is what was occurring in 2008. Okay, but what did they do at that point? They rushed Bernanke in before loving caring representatives that are flooding, pumping billions into the system, and that got the credit markets running. Can't do it this time. It won't happen. And we are on the precipice of this thing. And it's not the freaking stinking stock market. I hate when people sit there and they stare at this freaking stock market all the time. It's the debt market. Everything is a derivative of what's occurring in the debt market. Even the entire derivatives market. It's so absolutely twisted. At least now it's as clear to me as clear can possibly be that we will sidestep this because we're being pushed directly into it by design. Nothing we're seeing here is by accident. Now people are going to say, oh, this is fear mongering, this, that, and the other. Really, honestly, prove me wrong. Say one thing that I've said here that can't be verified, that's not actually true, then I'll eat my own words. Until that time, how about we go keep our mouths shut and then we actually start learning what's actually going on. We're in a dollar currency crisis now. The world is in a currency crisis. The central banks are in a race to the bottom. We're going to see the dollar lose its reserve status. There's no doubt about it. Right now, we're about 25 years into the cycle. These cycles of the reserve currency switching hands here, there's a particular pattern that they follow. And the United States right now is following this particular pattern. Instead of acquiring gold, as the BRIC nations are right now, we're adding cryptocurrencies to our strategic reserves. That's not a confidence builder at all. If President Trump were not working for a central bank, which he is, of course, the Federal Reserve. All presidents are puppets of these central banks and the puppeteers that run them. He would be adding massive amounts of gold to our system right now, and the world would look upon the United States and the United States dollar as a safe haven. The United States dollar is losing its status as the reserve currency, and indeed, the world is turning its back on the dollar. We're seeing transactions being settled in all different currencies other than the dollar right now, but who's talking about that? Not even President Trump, because he knows what's going on. He realized this is a controlled demolition, that we're being led to the slaughter, and they want people on their knees begging for a new system. But that's why we're becoming the crypto capital of the world, the bridge into the new system, full tokenization. Everyone knows it. That's where we're going. Why do we have an economy that functions only on crisis to crisis to crisis? It's very simple, because each crisis demands more debt. How people can't see this is beyond me. We got to come together here. We got to realize goes beyond the markets. From a financial standpoint, there's no better place to be than in massively suppressed assets that are real things. And I'm talking about gold, especially silver, my favorite asset of all time on this planet Earth here. Okay, we're going to see a currency debt meltdown, and cash just moves through the markets in predictable patterns. If we know that we are going to see an implosion in this debt market, is being fueled with more debt every single day, despite debt downgrades and everything else. You have this new Iron Dome, Golden Dome. Just think about it. It's just the most simple thing. You got an implosion in the debt market, which is going to wipe out the stock markets of the world so fast. Again, people's heads are going to spin around like The Exorcist again, because everyone runs to the door at the same time. While cash is bleeding out of the debt market, putting pressure on the stock market, it's just going to move from one reality into another. In my opinion, it's going to go massively into commodities on a scale that people aren't going to believe. And I also believe still it's going to go into cryptocurrencies as well too. But this is how you protect yourself from a financial standpoint.